sitting there doing this massive press conference, you know, the protest visually behind you, and you're making this whole speech about how things are going to be done a certain way, and, you know, you're going to grant access for 90 days in a hotel. They move the Union that night, and then they move Camp 6 the next day, and then the third day, a pin drops. There's nothing.
There was a productive way to do hotel shelter, and there was a really problematic way to do it. We provided a limited number of hotel beds and connected everyone who was using that hotel that was ours to supportive services. The community engaged in a different hotel sheltering effort that didn't provide supportive services, and that was it took anyone who showed up at the front door. And it was really costly, and it did attract people from around the region. And then because there was no supportive services, no intake, no data, and no other resources ported in, those folks were returned to the street, and some of them have been stranded here in Lawrence and Douglas County and we don't know where they're from or where they need to go back to, and they're not being served because our outreach team is really stretched. The vast majority of people who are sheltered in hotels through January through March were exited to the street. And so that's why we have so much camping. We have a lot of rental assistance money, but we lost that opportunity to connect with those people and move them into housing because we didn't value the role that social workers play and that service providers play. And I think we did it as productively as possible, and I think other people, you know, around the region, but also around the country, have done it in a way where it was really a hastily thrown together, not well supported, and not well thought out intervention. And we have to do better for people who are homeless.
It looks like 20 or so numbers. Load it up.
Okay.
So this is like my normal gig. We have, you know, deodorant, these little cases here. Oh. So when they formed the camp and the Midwest Homeless Collective, made it so much easier to serve them, and they were able to receive a lot of services right there. So we were pretty scared when they decided that they wanted to move everybody.
Honestly, it's not like they had a choice.
Right.
Like the buses, like visually, the buses were right there. There were cops, you know, in that Westport intersection making sure that the buses had space to go. It was a very intimidating situation.
But they also were walking around telling them they're going to have 3 meals per day and that they're going to have
chefs cook their meals.
So that's the great thing is we got like chefs making you guys meals. So once you're in the hotel, you get 3 meals a day. We'll get doctors, you need prescriptions, you need COVID vaccines, whatever you need, we're on it.
So they were excited and totally didn't have a whole lot of qualms about getting onto the bus to wherever they were going. Obviously, it didn't happen that way, and it was the following day that our group got a phone call asking if we could provide breakfast, and then breakfast turned into lunch, which turned into dinner, which turned into the whole weekend, which turned into till Tuesday. Tuesday we realized the cavalry's not coming, no one's actually providing meals, and we're the only ones doing it.
You drop it on individual organizations or volunteers that have a heart and compassion for the people. We're on the ground like probably from 7 in the morning or 8 in the morning, probably till like 9 at night.
I'm working a full-time job at Hy-Vee, or I was, and as soon as I try to focus on my job and I let up on helping these people because I was like, man, this is too much for me to do without any kind of compensation. I'm neglecting my family. As soon as that happened, people stopped eating. And immediately we saw the consequences of that. People destroying their rooms, overdosing or dealing or bringing people into their rooms to have sex in exchange for currency or food. You're putting them at this disadvantage where they're gonna look like they're wasting this opportunity because you never followed through on your commitment to provide them with resources for their basic needs. I don't see you bringing them hygiene care or feminine hygiene to these women women. I don't see you connecting any of these people to Swope Health or Care Beyond the Boulevard or passing out flyers. I don't see you doing any of that. I see my friends doing it. I see us picking up your pieces. The only reason you put them in these hotels in the first place was to get them off their front lawn. So if they waste this opportunity and they're back on your front lawn, what are you going to do then? Are you going to help them, or are you going to say, oh, well, they wasted this opportunity? You wasted this opportunity, City of Kansas City, by not following through on your commitments. And us, the organizers, the community, we are really angry at this point, because if we stop what we're doing, we are not the ones who pay the price. The people who you made promises to are the ones who pay the price.
Ran Camp 6 for 3 months. We was family there.
Happy birthday to you. Woo!
A lot of us want to be in the streets because we get taken care of better out there, living out in the streets, than we do in this building. Because when we're all together, we work as a team. We get everything together. We get food brought out here once a day. We have been partied everywhere.
We've been purposely segregated and had the head cut off the snake. It seemed like a good idea just to get off the street for a minute, you know what I mean? Just to, get 500 people off the streets. I mean, I've heard of a few people that have had caseworkers, but none of them have even heard from them yet. Everybody is worried, as Ash was saying, that, they don't know where they're gonna be at the end of this few months, and I don't know either, for real. Kind of just feels like we're boxed in.
And the city have already taken their belongings. So they have to start over from the ground up.
They had people even more dispersed than what they are right now, because they were just booking hotels online. So there was no strategic planning at that point of which hotels were participating, how many people per hotel, what those people need, where they were on the spectrum of houselessness, anything like that. They were just get on a bus and go. It just became way too much, way too quickly.
We're still here. Just because you put us out in the middle of nowhere don't mean shit. I want to get help. I want us to get a job. I want help. I want them to help me.
I feel like so much time has been wasted just because we've been scrambling. So we haven't really been able to give people the amount of, assistance and service that they need and they deserve, and they were promised.
The biggest hurdle for us is being able to triage and identify those challenges and quickly respond to the needs of all the people in this community. The hotels are certainly one step in the direction. We got a lot of people off the street, and that in itself is a success, but this is not a long-term solution. It's one step in the process.
In some ways, we haven't gotten all of this right. We've made mistakes, but there's still mistakes that are made in collaboration and coalition with each other. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. We saw at Bartle Hall that we struggled as a community to get people connected to resources quickly. And it looks a whole lot different in the hotels. So we've had a lot of folks step up and come to the table. The service providers are at the table. The Houseless task force is at the table. It's just been a really good collaborative effort, I think. And for me, I feel really encouraged. And it didn't feel that way before.
Volunteers are going to show up when they care, and they're always going to feel like they're being exploited for their time and their resources. Recently, we've been backed up financially for this work. It took 5 or so weeks to get that support, but we finally got it this week.
What project does not have bumps in the road? What project doesn't have cracks in the road? We're filling them. And as we move along, as we fill them, guess what? We're going to have a smooth system.
So now we're finally getting through the process of getting case managers in and filtering through and really seeing who is very close to not staying in this hotel because they actually already have a voucher and they need help putting a deposit down or help getting extra money to put aside or situations like that. Some people are very close to that possible resource, which is awesome.
And I commend Kansas City. I commend the mayor. I commend Brian Platt for stepping up to the plate, for listening.
But they could pay for a meal too. That would be nice.
Yeah. Say that part.
Where are they going to go when it ends? And so you know that going into the hotel program, that you have a finite amount of resources. And so you have to be willing to make an investment also in the solution for people. The question for local governments and for funders is, are you willing to put the same kind of investment into housing people as you are into providing them with a temporary shelter solution. When we run out of money for this program, we need to have a plan for everyone who's staying here, and that plan can't be returning them to the streets or to their car.